For what kind of man was life something to be hated? No longer did food or flesh have any feel. No longer did the blades of axes or swords or spears bring pain and strife. No longer did existence hold joy. Instead, death was the respite, and life was a cruel chore. If the wights with hearts of ice were cold and unfeeling, then the wights with hearts of fire were both their equals and opposites. But the will of the Lord of Light had to be carried out, even if his own acolytes knew not the means or ends. One such champion of the flames was Beric Dondarrion. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Exploring Fiction. The Lightning Lord set out with a simple task, but the trajectory of his entire life, or lives, changed from it. Time and time again he perished, only to be revived and continue his work at the head of the Brotherhood without banners. But in his undead undertaking, Beric Dondarrion lost and forgot the subtleties and joys of life. His entire being focused on his one purpose: to champion the downtrodden of Westeros and defend them from all sides until someone more suitable came along to take his place. Everything else whittled away, swirled in one endless, drab muck of a clouded nature. Beric Dondarrion lived to suffer, lived to accomplish his task, but was at the same time devoid of true life. So, who exactly is Beric Dondarrion, and why is he such an interesting character? Let's explore. Beric Dondarrion was born to unnamed parents in the year 276 or 277 AC, likely in Blackhaven. A boy of the Marcher lands, little was revealed of Beric's childhood, but after the passing of his father, he came to inherit the seat of Blackhaven, making him the Lord of House Dondarrion. Shortly before the events of A Song of Ice and Fire, in 294 or 295 AC, Beric was betrothed to Lady Illyria Dane, and soon took her nephew, young Edric Dane, as his page and later squire. The boy was the Lord of Starfall, but he followed Beric with the loyalty of a lesser-born noble. By the time of the opening events of A Song of Ice and Fire, Beric Dondarrion was a slim man, known for his handsome appearance and hair of red gold. Like many young knights without a war behind them, he was forthright and strong in a high degree. In battle, he wielded a longsword, and donned dull armor of black steel, displaying the purple lightning bolt sigil of his house. His shield shared the design. He rode atop a black courser, and threw about his shoulders a black cloak speckled with stars. But soon, Beric Dondarrion would become a source of light, and not darkness, brighter than almost any in the Seven Kingdoms. Beric Dondarrion first appears, though only briefly, in the opening novel of A Song of Ice and Fire, A Game of Thrones. Along with every other lord and knight worth their weight in gold, he travels to King's Landing to take part in the King's Hand Tourney, in which he is unhorsed in one of the middle rounds by his future companion, Thoros of Myr. Yet, even after the festivities conclude, Beric remains in King's Landing, and he is soon called upon by Lord Eddard Stark himself to carry out a glorious yet grisly task: bring down the mountain. Following the capture of Tyrion Lannister by Catelyn Stark, Sir Gregor Clegane has begun to roam the Riverlands, pillaging and causing general destruction. and Eddard instructs Beric to find and bring the towering man to justice. Along with both hand-picked and assigned soldiers, Beric sets out, and he and his men are ambushed in the Battle of the Mummers Ford. Little else is heard of the Lightning Lord, save that his men continue to harry the Lannisters, and he is even called upon by the new King Joffrey Baratheon to return to King's Landing to swear fealty. Beric Dondarrion has no such plans, however. In A Clash of Kings, the name of the Lightning Lord grows infamous among nobles and lowborn alike. Multiple men claim to have killed him, but still he roams the countryside, plaguing the Lannister forces relentlessly. Both Lord Tywin Lannister and Sir Gregor Clegane's own men actively seek out their elusive enemy, but they grow no closer to capturing him. Meanwhile, the Lightning Lord's men begin to gain a positive reputation among the small folk, becoming known for aiding them when in need, and providing both money and food to the people most ravaged by the war. But in a storm of swords, Beric Dondarrion makes his awaited, and horrific, return to relevance. He travels through the Riverlands along with the rest of the Brotherhood without banners, and his men capture Arya Stark, Gendry, and even the Hound, Sandor Clegane, and bring them to the Lightning Lord's hideout at the Hollow Hill. There Beric sits upon his weirwood root seat, a self-proclaimed follower of the Lord of Light and harbinger of justice over the Riverlands. At the insistence of Arya Stark, the Brotherhood puts Sandor Clegane on trial for past crimes, and the verdict is to be determined by the sword. The Hound represents himself in the trial by combat, and his opponent is none other than Lord Dondarrion. Beric sets his sword alight with flame, using his own blood as fuel, and the pair commence with their duel. Despite Sandor's ghastly fear of fire, he bests Beric, slicing him from shoulder to breastbone, killing his enemy and winning back his freedom in one fell swoop. Beric Dondarrion falls lifeless to the dust. But to the astonishment of the captives, Thoros of Myr bends down to the Lightning Lord, and the man rises again. A man they just seen collapse in his death throes now stands on his own 2 feet, talking and moving as if his defeat had never occurred. Only the scars on his body tell the true story. While the Hound is granted his freedom, Beric explains the hellish facade of his existence to those still present in the Hollow Hill. He recounts the Battle of the Mummers Ford, in which he suffered a gruesome lance injury at the hands of the Mountain himself. As Beric lay dying, he was protected by Green Gurgen and his own squire Edric Dane. He escaped, and Thoros of Myr placed his healing hands upon the Lightning Lord, but even he could not prevent the man's death. But what he could do was reanimate life. While performing the ritual of the last kiss of the Lord of Light upon Beric, Thoros resurrected his brother in arms. Beric explained he has suffered numerous deaths since then, leading to his myriad of injuries, but none has yet to leave him on the other side. Upon face, chest, and neck, he has the scars of his temporary passings, but none have proven completely lethal due to Thoros and the Lord of Light he serves. The Lightning Lord does not eat nor sleep, and even his very memories grow shrouded and muddled with each passing day, as if he were something removed from humanity itself. Yet, through his leadership, the Brotherhood without banners continues on, adding Gendry to their ranks. After the battle at the Burning Septry, Beric even knights the bastard son of the former king. Along with a select few others, He then visits the ghost of High Heart in an attempt to gain more wisdom and insight into the twisting landscape of the realm. The spectre spoils him mostly with visions and premonitions, including warnings about the upcoming Red Wedding, though Beric and his allies cannot foresee this truth in the way of the ghost. Arya Stark escapes his watchful eye, only to find her brother and mother murdered at the Twins. Catelyn's corpse is dumped into the river, and Beric Dondarrion finally spies his noble and final end. In A Feast for Crows, many speculate on the whereabouts and unfolding legend of the Lightning Lord, but few know his true fate. The Lannisters and their allies believe Beric Dondarrion has developed a vendetta against the Freys, as many members of that sprawling family are turning up, hanging from countryside branches. There is even rumor that Beric has taken a lover, a woman known as Stoneheart. But only the members of the Brotherhood are privy to the truth. When Brienne of Tarth stumbles into their company and becomes their captive, Thoros reveals that Beric, himself, and the rest of their band had found the corpse of Catelyn Stark washed up on a riverbank after the Red Wedding. Thoros had refused Beric's request to revive the woman, and so, in an act of sweet release, Beric passed his last kiss of life into Catelyn, creating Lady Stoneheart and finally freeing himself from his dwindling existence. This action leaves the Brotherhood divided, but Beric Dondarrion has at long last moved on. Once a vibrant young lord with a promising future, Beric Dondarrion's ultimate purpose veers far from the course initially laid before his feet. Far beyond the wall, the ice wights roam in the shadows, looking to grow their ranks from amongst any foolish enough to face them. But the fire wights, of which Beric Dondarrion is most notable, seek instead to champion the Lord of Light. Beric is felled at the Mummer's Ford by the Mountain himself, failing at the task given him by the hand of the king in his first life. But the Lord of Light resurrects him through the axe of his vessel, Thoros of Myr, and Beric Dondarrion rises again. Yet, he is changed. With each and every death at the hands of his enemies, the Lightning Lord's grip on humanity loosens. He admits as much, stating that his existence has become muted and dulled, as if seen through a lens of gray haze. All that had once brought contentment now leaves him unsatisfied. The joyful minutia that makes life worth living is no longer appealing. Though the fire of the Lord of Light burns within his soul, Beric Dondarrion's heart no longer beats. His sole reason to carry on is all that remains: to lead the Brotherhood without banners in its just and noble quest on behalf of the spurned small folk of Westeros. After every death, he is wrenched back from his respite by Thoros, and must once again face the hardships of a life sapped of its beauty. This is true horror. To live in a dull, meaningless purgatory from which escape is nigh impossible. Of course, Beric's purpose is a valiant one, but he is robbed of all else, and it only grows worse after each revival. The life of Beric Dondarrion is an arduous and unenviable one. He is a man that surely yearns for death despite his multiple chances at living, and so, when he sees a worthy successor waiting in the weeds, he welcomes his final respite. For Beric Dondarrion, the kindling flame of existence is a weight across his scarred shoulders. If an extra chance at life was dangled before any other lord or lady, it assuredly would have been snatched at the first opportunity. But for Beric Dondarrion, the gift was unexpected and almost unwelcome. His best friend pulled him from the grips of the dead numerous times so that he may continue the task set before him. But the Lightning Lord sacrificed much. He was robbed of pleasure, numbed to pain, and oblivious to joy. His heart burned, but did not beat. And so were the lives of the Lord of Blackhaven played out. Not with grandeur and fanfare, but with smoke, shadow, fire, and a sweeping exhaustion of subsistence itself. Beric Dondarrion was cursed with life. So, that's all for this video. Leave a comment with your thoughts. I'd love to hear them. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new here. I'd love to have you. Visit my website, russellawellsauthor.com, for exclusive reviews, fiction, and more. And sign up for my mailing list for free exclusive content. The links for both are in the description below. And, like always, I will see you next time.